Hi, I'm Skinny Cheeks, and this will be my Stamina Templar DPS guide. Templar's got some nice buffs in the Waking Flame, and looks like Power of the Light is back on the menu, boys. I was able to get the highest I've ever done on Templar with 117k DPS, and I'll go through that setup as well as some others that can do really well too. Before we get further, if you do like the old rotation that doesn't use Power of the Light and just spends more time jabby jabbing, that setup is still really good. I did test that again this patch, and it is a little higher than the previous patch, but a little lower than the new setup. So if you are interested in that, my previous build video has the full build and rotation if you want to go that route. So this won't be a super in-depth guide like some of my other recent ones, as a new patch is right around the corner, so we might see some more changes again, but this will at least be great through the end of Waking Flame and probably beyond that too. So for this video, I'll go through the top races, our Mundus Stone, the food, drinks, and potions we'll be using, our champion points, our skill bars, the gear options, some rotation options, and then we'll end with several clips of these setups in action on the trial dummy. All right, let's get into it. My top two races for Stamina DPS are Dark Elf and Khajiit, with Orc as a very close third. Really, any race can work fine, and Red Guards, Wood Elves, Imperials, and High Elves all have some really nice passives for Stamina DPS too. Dark Elf is probably my favorite if I had to pick one, but Khajiit is so close and gets more health and sustain, so really whichever you prefer. For our Mundus Stone, we'll be going with the Thief. For our food options, the Bistat Health plus Stamina is the best if you can sustain it. Lava Foot is great too if you need more sustain and you don't mind being a little squishier with no health bonus. And then Artaeum or Dubious for an in-between but a little less damage than the first two. For our potions, we are generally using the standard weapon power potions. The major savagery it provides is a little redundant with the bar setup we're using, but it does give us a little bar flexibility to move stuff around if we need to. But if you don't need the savagery, you can just run the ones that have stamina plus major brutality on them. If you want to just use trash potions for some easier content, or run heroism potions for certain encounters, just make sure you either have a Dragon Knight support casting igneous weapons, or if you are a werewolf, you can slot Hircine's Rage for the passive major brutality. This does work even if you aren't in werewolf form. Having a support do igneous is a little better though, because you can run more Fighters Guild abilities in that situation. You can also use the potions that put a physical resistance debuff on you so that you can get some extra recovery from the Sustained by Suffering CP node. The biggest problem with this is that every time you use your Ritual of Retribution, you cleanse the debuff, so you don't really get much out of it. Honestly, not really the best route, but you can squeeze out a little more sustain on your parses. For our champion points, the slottables we'll be taking are Backstabber, Biting Aura, Master at Arms, and Deadly Aim. I think Fighting Finesse is really close to these four and should definitely be slotted for scenarios where Backstabber can't be used. However, Deadly Aim was consistently giving me better results when testing over Fighting Finesse, and I think it may be due to boosting Reliquin, so in situations where you aren't wearing Reliquin, I'd bet that Fighting Finesse will outperform Deadly Aim. Ultimately, try them out though, see which one works best for you. But remember that even though it doesn't look like we have much single target damage based on our abilities slotted, you can't leave out our light attacks, Power of the Light, the Burning Light proc, Reliquin, our enchantments, status effects, Barb Trap. All of these are single target damage, so 4 of our top 6 hitting abilities are single target. When you look at it like that, it's a little easier to see how Deadly Aim can do so well. If you do want a full champion point leveling guide, I did put one of those together as well, where I showed different routes and milestones to hit, so I'll have that linked down in the description. All right, for our skills, on the front bar we have Camo Hunter, Barbed Trap, Power of the Light, Biting Jabs, Ring of Preservation, and Flawless Dawnbreaker. The Fighter's Guild abilities are here for their passive damage, Barbed Trap to keep up minor force, and it's also a nice single target dot, and then Biting Jabs are insanely strong spammable ability. Dawnbreaker is a nice ult to cast, but not my first choice to cast if we do have more ult built up, but still it's very strong. And then on the back bar we have Camo Hunter, our Backbar dot, so Endless Hail, Elemental Blockade, Stampede, or Deadly Cloak, depending on which backbar set we're running. And then Ritual of Retribution, Restoring Focus, Radiant Ward, and Shooting Star. So Restoring Focus is a great skill as it gives extra sustain, resistances, and heals. Really so much crammed into one ability. Radiant Ward is just mostly here for the passive 10% crit damage boost, but it's actually not a terrible shield either if you find yourself in a bind. Shooting Star isn't a must, but it does seem to be the strongest option if your target is going to sit in every tick. Destro ult is also great here if you're running a staff. Usually we'll be going with dual wield on the front bar, but if you do go two-handed front bar for some more AoE heavy encounters, you can run Stampede on the front bar in place of Ring of Preservation. It is a really strong AoE dot. Repentance is another great skill that you can put in one of those flex spots. You get extra recovery just for having it slotted, and on fights with multiple enemies dying, the sustain boost you get from it is insane. And as I mentioned in the potions section, if you don't want to run major brutality potions and you don't have a support running igneous weapons, you can slot the werewolf ability Hircine's Rage for that brutality. Not my first go-to for that buff, but it is an option. All right, now we'll do the gear. We are making the swap from Deadly Strike to Advancing Yokita, aka Berserking Warrior, as our top front bar set this patch, if you are using Power of the Light. Since Deadly Strike only boosts dots and channels and it doesn't boost Power of the Light, it does seem like Advancing Yokita is just ever so slightly better now. It also plays well with the new medium armor changes, where medium armor gives a lot of crit damage, but there is hardly a difference if you do want to keep using Deadly, and if you do still want to do the old rotation without Power of the Light. As I mentioned at the start of the video, the previous build still works great, and Deadly Strike is still the better option for that rotation. We are using a light slime craw piece here with a sharpened offhand to hit the pin cap on the dummy. Depending on your group setup, you may need a light crog piece instead, or maybe even a mace instead of a dagger to get a little more pin, but that will be based on your group and what they're running. 18,200 is that total amount to hit, including all of your group debuffs. If you have more than enough pin in your group already, you might swap to precise on that offhand instead of sharp. Another key change here is that we have 3 infused instead of 3 bloodthirsty. We have a plus 60% modifier to our weapon damage with this setup, 30% from major and minor brutality, 12% from our medium armor, 12% from our fighters guild abilities slotted, and 6% from our balanced warrior class passive. The 60% will boost infused weapon damage, but remember, bloodthirsty does not receive any modifiers. So this means for just over half of the fight, infused is better, and then the final 47 or so % of the fight, bloodthirsty is better. Normally I would say this would be fine to still run bloodthirsty, but Power of the Light is also an oddball skill that doesn't scale with bloodthirsty, so that pretty much pushes it over the edge in favor of infused. Bloodthirsty is still really close. If you have that, don't worry too much about making that a big priority to change it, and with the non-Power of the Light rotation, bloodthirsty is probably still what I'd use. But infused does seem to squeak out a little higher with this patch. And as I mentioned, Deadly Strike is super close to Advancing Yokita. If you are in a scenario where Reliquant isn't the best option, Deadly Strike plus Advancing is still very strong and actually got me more DPS than any other set pairing that I tried out, and that did include some Yondir tests. And if you do want to do a two-hander on your front bar instead of the dual wield, you can. It is a small DPS loss. It will allow you to run Stampede on your front bar though if you aren't using a two-handed back bar, which is nice for an extra bit of AoE DPS. I do still prefer the dual wield for single target, but two-handed can work great too. And then finally, for situations where you aren't using the kilt, 2 monster pieces or using the Death Dealer's Fate Ring are both solid options to go with. You could also do Thracian depending on how many killing blows you're able to get. Some other alternate sets that you might use situationally, or if you don't have these, are Mechanical Acuity, Yondir's Might, Kinra's Wrath, Sulksan's Torment, Zogvin's Warband, Dagon's Dominion, and Leviathan. For the rotation, last time I'll mention it, but if you want the non-Power of the Light version, check my previous build. The rotation is the same. It is linked in the description. Again, still really good results with that one if you don't want to change it up. So for the new rotation, we will have a few different versions here depending on the back bar we're using. This one is for the bow. This one is for the staff, and then the dual wield back bar and two-handed back bar rotations are going to be the same. All of these are very similar with just some slight tweaks to our number of skills cast. The bow and the staff are 14-second rotations, and the two-hand and dual wield are both 12-second rotations. So I'll just go over some key points with these. You'll notice every time we're on our front bar, we are casting Power of the Light twice. It doesn't matter too much where exactly you cast it. I do generally kind of move it around depending on what other skills I'm needing to cast, but the key point is that you always get it off twice on your front bar, and you always have it pop on your front bar. So you don't want your last cast of it to be too early before you bar swap, causing it to pop on your back bar where you have lower stats. Ideally though, you will do it in a way where you can end your front bar each time also with a Power of the Light cast. It makes the bar swap off to your back bar a little bit easier. So on the bow and staff rotations, this means not keeping it up 100% of the time, since those are the 14-second rotations, since it doesn't line up exactly right as a 6-second skill. So this means sometimes when it pops, we will wait another cast of jabs before reapplying it, just to extend it a little bit. On the 2-hand and dual wield rotation, this is 12 seconds, so it lines up every time. You can keep power of the light up dynamically if you like, which is every 6 seconds. However, with the staff and bow rotations, this will cause you to end your front bars often on a jabs cast, which can be a little awkward, and you also might end up with it popping on your back bar some. So just something to consider, but dynamic on power of the light is definitely an option if you are comfortable with that. And then if you notice on the staff and the bow rotations under the remaining section, right before that last power of the light, it says 5 or 6 on the jabs cast. So this is just depending on how fast you're weaving. You don't want your back bar dot falling off, so if you can squeeze 6 in there, great. If not, just do 5. For that opening staff rotation on that front bar part there, I think I actually, on the parse I recorded, did something like 3 jabs, pottle, 7 jabs, pottle, or something like that. But like I said earlier, it really doesn't matter exactly where you cast power of the light, and you may or may not squeeze in as many jabs depending on your speed. Just try and end your bar with it, and again, get off 2 each time you're on the front bar. And then you might have noticed, but on the bow rotation, there is a little difference from the others. At the end of every front bar, you'll see that we are light attacking before that bar swap, and then there's no light attack in front of Endless Hail. So this weaves a little quicker if you can get it down. If you try and bar swap then light attack into Endless Hail, you'll notice there's quite a longer delay there, unlike doing the same thing with Blockade, Stampede, or Deadly Cloak. So just try and get the light attack before the bar swap if you are swapping into Hail. And then one final note, if you are running Stampede on your front bar as an extra dot, you can either just cast it once every time you go to the front bar, or you can keep it up dynamically every 10 seconds. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I want to give a big thanks to my current Patreon supporters. If you'd like to see how you can help support the channel through Patreon, I'll have a link in the description below. And a special thanks to Nicholas, Simon, Privy League Guild on PlayStation's EU server, Cougars Bay in the Cougar City Guild, Stridig, Delta, the Order of War Guild, Iffy, and my wonderful wife. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I really need you. Let me get to know you. I wanna hold you. I wanna breathe you. I really need you, girl. I really need you.
Johnny goes to the stage, no fear, no fear. He is one with his ways. He knows what he wants to convey. So clear, so clear, like a line from a page, from a book, from the Lord's shelf itself. Johnny rides in the night through hell, through hell. But Johnny understands why he does what he does. He kissed his family goodbye, so long, farewell. Like a scene from a play on a stage in a town full of people that never seem to ever get over their own sight and smell. But love is supposed to be more than a dream. But lately it's not all it's cracked up to be. Why can't I love you the way you love me? Oh, why can't I be more like Johnny? But Johnny sleeps with no guilt, no blame, no shame. And if I felt how he felt, I would blow you all away. I'd blow you all away. Blow you all away. Blow you all away. Spirit is filling me, it feeds my begging knees. It tells me just to be, it shows me what I need. A spirit is filling me, it feeds my begging knees. It tells me just to be, it shows me what I need. Whoa, 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 whoa. So who is Johnny? Where is Johnny? He lives inside a place where blind men see. He lives inside goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. I know that it's not the end. I'll say goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. I know I'll see you in heaven. Well, I don't know why it was your time, and I don't know why we had to say goodbye. Well, I don't know exactly where in the universe you are, but a part of you is right here in my heart. So even when I begin to move on, even then you'll live on through this song. I say goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. Yet I know that it's not the end. I say goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. I know I'll see you in heaven. I'll say goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. I know that it's not the end. I'll say goodbye, my little friend, but I know I'll see you again. I know I'll see you in heaven.